The Twitter rumors are true. I am the latest U.S. case of coronavirus confirmed. Obviously, my voice is not at full strength, but as with earlier in the week, bear with me, we'll get through it. On Wednesday, Elizabeth Warren posted an impressive combination of anti-constitutional authoritarianism and outright hypocrisy. She's announcing a plan to fight digital disinformation because, of course, that's how we got Trump in the first place. It couldn't possibly be that people hear the Democratic Party approved information and just disagree. No. It's all manipulation from foreign actors and Trump loyalists. And so today, in response to these nefarious forces, Elizabeth Warren is announcing she will not knowingly spread disinformation to benefit her own candidacy or damage others. And she's also calling on social media giants like Facebook, Twitter, and Google to fight disinformation on their platforms. She's also pledging a series of actions to further address the spread of disinformation if elected president. Well, isn't that awfully convenient? The fake Indian who lied about her heritage on her Texas bar registration, who likely lied about it during her teaching tenure at Harvard, or at least the school lied on her behalf, who lied about being fired for pregnancy, who lied about her dad's janitor job, who lied about her children going to public school, and who's fresh off probably the most disgraceful smear of this campaign season so far, in likely coordination with CNN, hardly a bastion of political honesty. That fake Indian, that squannabe, if you will, has seen the light on her vision quest, and she will lie no more forever. But hey, if that's true, good for her. Anytime a politician wants to make a commitment to put the truth over politics, go right ahead. Better late than never. That's not the issue here. The issue here is the stated intent to impose that commitment on everyone else. This is a public official lobbying the private sector to diminish the constitutional rights of the American citizenry. Or in certain cases, even do that through government force, calling for criminal penalties for posting election disinformation, according to her proposal. I have serious doubts this sort of gut punch to the First Amendment would survive court challenge. Thankfully, Warren has a better chance of gaining tribal citizenship than she does the Oval Office. But even apart from her, we will see more of this same sort of First Amendment workaround, and we will have to confront it as a matter of constitutional law. Strictly speaking, social media platforms are not beholden to the First Amendment. Now, I argue, of course, that free speech is a philosophy more fundamental than just the First Amendment itself and should therefore be upheld, but Facebook and YouTube's property is Facebook and YouTube's property. They're entitled to manage it as they like. But what happens, though, when a bully from the government tries to influence those management decisions, to put it kindly? What happens when a bully from the government isn't a censor, strictly speaking, but is another member of the outrage mob with a particularly loud bullhorn telling the private sector to do his dirty censorship work for him? We don't need Elizabeth Warren's hypothetical to consider this possibility. We actually have a real example in development from a sitting member of Congress. When Democrats took the House last year, they established a new select committee on the climate crisis. Nancy Pelosi said the committee's purpose is to prepare the way with evidence for energy conservation and other climate change mitigation, and to educate the public about the impact of more frequent extreme weather events. And by educate you, she means make sure you form the correct opinion on the issue, of course, by seizing the means of opinion production. Nancy picked 14-year veteran Congresswoman Kathy Castor from Tampa to chair the committee. And just like the fake Indians' sudden reversal, the 9 Democrats on the committee suddenly decided, okay, cool, you know what, that's enough money raised for us on fossil fuels. Today's the day we change our ways. And now it's time to lecture the American people about the sacrifices they will have to make. First and foremost, you'll have to sacrifice thinking for yourself. Or more specifically, you'll have to sacrifice any help doing that from YouTube CEO Susan Wiki or Google CEO Sundar Pichai. Chairwoman Castor wrote an official committee letter to Pichai this week, expressing concern that she's seen a new report that says YouTube is driving millions of views to climate misinformation videos, giving Pichai a list of steps to take to correct the issue and telling him to respond by next Friday with his plan to fix the problem. Or what? You gonna use the force of law to coerce viewpoint discrimination? If you could do that, this letter wouldn't be necessary at all, would it? You wouldn't ask, you'd just do it by force. Instead, the strategy is a little heavy-handed persuasion so they can get the effect of censorship while still trying to plausibly deny the censorship. Let's take a closer look at the report the letter is referencing, as well as the letter itself. The report she's talking about is called "Why is YouTube Broadcasting Climate Misinformation to Millions?" It's basically the environmentalist equivalent of the Nazi spiderweb report that accused YouTube of radicalizing everyone into Hitler the Hun. Specifically, the report says YouTube's recommendation algorithm is driving views to climate misinformation videos and placing ads on them for profit, which of course means we have many corporate advertisers to shame into compliance with our worldview. What was surprising to me about this report is the so-called misinformation videos it identifies. I was expecting to see some weird character rambling in a basement about how climate change is more fake than the Holocaust, some sort of truly fringe conspiracy-minded content. But that's not what they highlight at all. Instead, it's a PragerU video from past Greenpeace Canada president and ecology PhD Patrick Moore, a Mark Levin Fox News video with Dr. Patrick Michaels, a former environmental science research professor and a PhD in ecological climatology, another PragerU video by Richard Lindzen, an atmospheric physicist and former MIT professor with a PhD in applied mathematics, and lastly, a full-length documentary from 2007 called The Great Global Warming Swindle, a film with numerous scientists disputing the concept of scientific consensus on the issue. Of course, I'm not endorsing every opinion in these videos. I haven't watched them all. But these people aren't basement randos. They are highly qualified experts I would like to hear from and consider, instead of simply accepting the truth as told by Susan WikiWiki and Nancy Pelosi. Oh, but that's not what this is, the report says. It's not censorship. No, we're not in favor of banning opinions. We just want the incorrect opinions to have a barrier for entry, letting you know about the wrong to think before you listen and attempt to think for yourself. But good luck with that, you bumbling idiot. And if you do spread misinformation as we define it, it should be 3 strikes before you hit the YouTube Shadowlands, never to be promoted or easily found again. This is what the Congresswoman is advocating. Oh, it's not censorship because we're not deleting the channel outright. We're just backing it into a corner so that it's effectively deleted. And I'm not doing it. I'm just using state influence to pressure a private actor to do the non-censorship for me. If it's not censorship, if there are no obstacles to the government doing this itself, we gotta wonder why they're jumping through so many indirect hoops to try to get this done. The reason is, of course, because it is censorship in the spirit and the effect of the term. It is the government engaging in viewpoint discrimination and looking to punish offenders. You can see this goal in the letter. Just listen to this paragraph. As chair of the Select Committee on the Climate Crisis, I'm committed to promoting ambitious federal policy that will help us solve one of the biggest challenges facing our planet. I also recognize the need to partner with members of the private sector to take impactful action that will accelerate progress as we make sure the United States meets its climate goals. As we all work together to solve this crisis, we must also eliminate barriers to action, including those as pervasive and harmful as climate denial and climate misinformation. Eliminate barriers, not minimize, not refrain from promoting, eliminate, to accelerate the progress. Never mind that our system is designed to slow the progress, actually, to ensure that the passion of the moment doesn't cause us to completely halt and destroy our economy. For example, as this non-punished video with the correct opinion from a scientifically unqualified child urges us to do.
We don't need a low carbon economy. We don't need to lower emissions. Our emissions have to stop.
I see all kinds of ads running on this dangerous climate misinformation, but that's just fine. No shame for Verbo, StubHub, or the Bernie Sanders campaign. The oath you swore, Congresswoman, is not to accelerate progress. It's to protect and defend the rights of the people, first and foremost, with your subjective view of progress coming in a distant second. And what exactly is this misinformation anyway? What is this supposed barrier to progress that we have to eliminate? It's not defined in the letter, but based on the argument and the examples of it, we know what it's not. We know it's not opinions of the unqualified. Every person in the example videos is highly qualified. PhDs from accredited schools, decades of experience in relevant fields. It's not unscientific opinion. Every person in the example videos holds an advanced degree in a scientific discipline. It's not objectively false information, since objectively false information from a climate alarmist perspective won't be punished at all because, gosh darn it, it's just so cheek-pinchingly cute. Misinformation simply means opinions with which the authority disagrees, which is why lies from Elizabeth Warren or Kathy Castor are just fine, but lies about them or about things they believe are existential threats to this country that must be controlled immediately. The truth doesn't come from the authority, though. When you try that, you end up with Chernobyl or coronavirus, because no one's free to speak up when things are going massively wrong. We reach the truth when ideas compete freely, when dissent is valued, not punished, even if we passionately disagree, because we value the pursuit of the truth over our own personal preferences for what that truth might be. Ironic that we have to clear the barriers to progress by imposing barriers on others, but that's what happens when you prioritize your politics over the rights of other people. You get all sorts of these nonsensical contradictions that have to be backfilled with exaggerated, unearned claims of saving the world and saving humanity. If there's one thing to be saved about humanity, it's the right of the individual to think and to reason and to speak for himself. Without that, I will gladly take a firing squad of solar flares on General Greta's command. There is no way it's worse than the future as decreed by progressive commissars Nancy and Kathy. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel. Always appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below, and especially over on Twitter. That is at ML Christiansen. You're always welcome to coming out and chat in my live streams. Those are linked down in the description. Looking forward to it. Goodbye.